Welcome to Sustainable Packaging with Cory Connors. Today's guest is a little out of the ordinary for us, but I think it's a very important topic to discuss when we're talking about recycling and packaging. We're talking about batteries, and my friend Danielle Spalding is Battery Solutions Vice President of Marketing and Digital Engagement. Hi, Danielle.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. It's such a privilege to actually come on. I've been listening to you since you've now started, and
Thank
I'm
you.
just excited to have a conversation.
Oh, it's my honor. And our friend Adam Peak introduced us and
Hmm.
thought that you would be a great guest, and I agree with him. So, t-
That's so kind. Yeah, he's a wonderful, wonderful man.
good. Well, let's talk about it. Tell us about how did you get into recycling? How did you get into the battery world?
Oh, wow. So it's funny. I've always been very passionate about sustainability and helping brands tell their story. It's funny. I was going through paperwork recently trying to clean up my files at home, and I ran across this interview you do in like second grade, and they ask you all these questions, and they're like, "What's your one wish for the world?" And I said, like, "Can we go ahead and fix the ozone layer, right, that we
Yeah.
had?" And I thought about that, and I thought how much I'm still kind of that same individual. But, you know, I came across this opportunity with my background in advertising and marketing, and then having the ability to work in sustainability. It became a personal combination of professional passion with, where I kind of believe that we can go in the world, and I think help become a better for the future generations. So it was kind of a beautiful coincidental mix that happened.
That's amazing. It's so cool when you can do what you love. And it sounds
Hmm.
like you do. So, congratulations to you. Very few people I talk to truly do what they love. And
Hmm.
so good for you. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
thank you. Thank you. Very fortunate. Very fortunate.
Yeah. So I've been told in the past that the car battery is the most recycled consumer item in the world. Is that still true?
It is, it's funny working in sustainability. I never knew I was going to work in batteries and learn so much. And so the car battery, but specifically the lead acid car battery, that's
Okay.
still predominantly within the market. That's really the most recycled, and it's a fantastic example of how we can help support recycling specifically as an infrastructure within the US overall. Because you think about CarQuest and AutoZones and all of those other ones out there, you're able to bring your batteries directly to where you're going to purchase your new batteries.
Right.
And it gives access, it provides an incentive through payment for people to participate. A new lead acid battery is actually made up of 80% of a recycled one.
Wow.
And, I think that's where we want to go in the world overall, right? And whether that is in batteries or in other packaging solutions, we want to be able to use recycled material to create the new item that we're going to use.
That's an amazing statistic. I had to write that down. 80% of a new
Hmm.
battery is made out of old batteries. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think when you think about it, because I always say lead acid, just to clarify, because of the electric vehicle conversation and really evolution that's been happening within North America and specifically in the US.
Yep.
I don't know about you, but I can't go a day without seeing an article or a feature, right? Not
Yep.
just because I'm in batteries, but because, there's a focus on sustainability overall, right? Much more strongly. And we're really catching up, I think, to other countries that have been at the forefront of that. And we're really, I think, making a great step. But electric vehicles are also on the road, right? And they are also playing a big part in how people view their daily contribution to
Right.
sustainability, right? And is it emissions? Like, what is your passion in the world of sustainability, and how can you contribute to that? But recycling an electric vehicle battery is very different than recycling a lead acid battery.
So electric vehicles don't use lead acid batteries.
No, no, they use, so there's a wide range of different makeups that they use, but a lot of it is going to be typically a lithium based battery. And so, if you think of lithium and cobalt and the conversations around, right, how things are virgin mined and how
Right.
they get access to those materials, nickel is a big part of those batteries. And, there's a big range that people are shifting to. I think what's fascinating is that when we think about the electric vehicle, right, it's something where so I'm from the Motor City, guys. We
Detroit.
we all, yes, exactly. We are in cars all day, every day, right? We love to drive, but it's this idea that it allows for our daily interactions to happen, right? We got to get to work unless we're working remotely still, or if we are trying to see friends or start to get back out into the world. But electric vehicle batteries have a very different makeup. And so the handling of those at end of life is not like lead acid. Lead acid, you can basically take out of the vehicle and it goes directly to a smelter, which is basically, high temperature, right?
Yeah.
Heating and then separation. And a
And
lithium ion battery is actually more of a pack, right? You think about the car, and then inside is this actual case. And inside that case is different sets of their modules. And inside those modules are cells of batteries all connected. And
right.
they sometimes can look like a pouch, if you've ever seen like your cell phone battery, and it's like a little
Oh,
pouch like item. And, it's kind of like a softer case. And the goal is multiple ways. You send it in for recycling. So we actually are very fortunate to be extraordinarily talented group of disassembly technicians on site. But we actually have to disassemble the battery pack because you want to make sure you're testing the modules, right, or at the cell level for reuse, right? How can
oh,
we help sustainability, right? The other side of it is that when it goes for recycling, that's what you see the new processors, right, open up now, is that they're all really focused on lithium ion processing.
right.
And that is to extract all of those critical minerals, because we want to stop having to get them from a place that is getting virgin mined, right?
Right.
And then into a place where they can hopefully, I'm not the technical engineer here, but I will use the word cathode, which is basically just the raw element, right? That you want to get down to for the use of the next battery, right? And we want to create this supply chain that allows us, just like the lead acid batteries, to create new batteries from used electric vehicle batteries, so we don't have to keep going back right into the ground. And there's a whole supply chain and job creation and environmental impact, because you have people like our teams who are going to be actually disassembling those batteries. Those are jobs. You've got people that are
Right.
creating technology, engineering jobs. You've got people that are actually having to then process those through those pyrometallurgical or hydrometallurgical, which is basically just heat and water, right? Your option of like how that goes, or it's a combination of each. But the advancements in technology for electric vehicle, it's still early, right?
Yeah.
We've had a big boom in the last like 2 to 5 years within lithium ion processing, bringing it into the US. And it's a lot of initiatives are happening for teams to be incentivized to get into this field and to help increase recycling rates. You know, do you, great question. Maybe, do I get to ask a question?
You
Is
can
this,
say anything.
oh,
Yeah,
this is
you have carte
wonderful.
blanche. You're in charge.
Oh, so do you want to take a guess at how many batteries, like, let's just say your home type batteries, like your watch, your cell phone battery, how many
Yeah.
do you think are actually like recycled a year?
Oh, wow. I would say probably 20%.
Wow, you're so generous. So a lot of data actually tells us in the US, and this is data around 18-ish, 2018, at about 8%.
8%.
8%, yes, of batteries in the US that you use every day, right? I, I'm not gonna lie, guys. I'm
Yeah.
gonna be super honest to anyone that's listening. Before I came to work right in batteries, I had that drawer in my house
Yeah.
where I didn't know what to do with them. I didn't want to throw them away, right?
Right.
But I had to become educated. So I don't know if you have that, Cory. Like,
Actually, I'm very fortunate to live in a place where we have a company called Ridwell, and
amazing company.
they will come to our house and they will
Hmm.
pick up our bag of batteries once a week, but we don't use enough batteries to fill it, so we
Hmm.
just put it out every several months. They'll take batteries, light bulbs, overwrap plastic films, which
Mm-hmm.
I just talked to Trex last week on the
Oh,
podcast.
yep.
They
Mm-hmm.
have Trex has recycled over 1 billion with a B
Wow.
pounds of plastic in the last 5 years.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even, I love that you mentioned Ridgewell. Ridgewell's been doing this amazing work, right? About, again, accessibility,
Yeah.
right, to
Right.
recycling. And I think that in combination with education,
Yeah.
because people need to be educated as well that this does exist and
Yeah.
it can be accessible to you. We create products so people can buy for their homes so they can do the recycling right at their home
Right.
compliantly, safely. And if you've got something that's damaged, there's now access online to purchase all of those types of kits and things so they don't have to stay in your home and you don't have to throw them out, because batteries are enable technology,
Yeah.
right? I'm wearing earbuds right now, right, but I
Right.
have a battery in my case for charging, or they allow us to be more communicative remotely. And I think that even with electric vehicles, right, all battery power based,
Yep.
but we have to take care of those batteries. So one of our goals, and I think one of my personal goals, is just we want to increase recycling rates, right? Like let's get out there and see what people need to be able to recycle more, right? Just
Yep.
overall.
What do you
I
think
think
that
that
is? Do you think it's
Mhm.
do you think it's home pickup? Do you think it's a store drop off for batteries? What do you think
Mm.
what's the solution to make it easy for the common person like me?
Oh, wow, that's a great loaded question.
That's
I
my
think
specialty.
it is.
Loaded
Should have
questions.
been prepared when I knew I was going to be talking to you.
Right.
No, I think that accessibility, I think that
Yeah.
more having these at store locations, right? And then having these in homes, because let's be honest, not everyone lives in a 2, 3, 5, even 10-mile radius, right? Of
Right.
sometimes retail stores, because when we talk about, people per capita, right? And all the spacing and things like that, we want to ensure that everyone and anyone has access. And so being able to do that in places that you go on a daily basis or weekly basis is going to be pretty critical. And, again, it's also the education component of that, because lithium batteries, and lithium ion usually specifically, are still the number one cause for fires in places like garbage trucks or material
Oh,
recovery
really?
facilities.
Hmm.
And we want people to be safe, right? And we want
Yep.
and to ensure that everyone understands you can do this, right? And we can all do it together and we all have access.
Yeah.
Um, and the more the rates go up, then hopefully, that also changes and shifts those jobs into the sustainability sector, right?
Right.
And it increases the ability for people to contribute to that personal, right, commitment that they also have.
Right. You mentioned a core or a deposit program for car lithium, or I'm sorry,
Mhm.
lead acid.
Oh, see, yeah.
See, I'm learning
Yeah.
batteries earlier.
Mhm.
And I think that's probably why they're the most recycled consumer item in the world,
Mhm.
or at least in the USA. I can't speak for the whole world. I don't know
Right.
that stat. But do you think that if we applied a deposit for a double A or a triple A or any battery, do you think those recycle rates would increase?
That's a really fascinating question, because there's been a lot of talk, right, in our sector about, should we do a deposit? Should we do extended producer responsibilities? Should we
Yeah.
do, yep, a lot of those different areas. And I think that the answer is going to be a combination of the manufacturers making their own sustainability commitments, right? And
Mhm.
taking the charge on how they feel that they can help support that sustainability through whether those are collection programs or incentivizing them to bring them back for discounts on other ones. I think that
Oh, I like that.
deposits, yeah,
Yeah.
because we're here to help, right? Businesses create an opportunity for another connection with their customers
Right.
and, right, be able to increase sustainability efforts through recycling. But I think that deposits, it gets a lot of conversation, and I think it's really worth evaluating if that's an infrastructure that we can support. And I think the other side of it is there are extended producer responsibility discussions, and some have already put them into place for larger format batteries, right? Like forklifts, or you know what I mean?
Right.
Like those types of
Right.
larger, those large, usually those bigger investment pieces for businesses. And it's this area where I think it's going to come down to a combination of what's going to work and what area you're in, because California, for example, has a lot of regulations around battery recycling, that you basically need to recycle your batteries. And other states have zero, right?
Right.
Regulation at all. So I think all of that in combination is what's going to help us create. But first and foremost, it's us talking about it. And that's why I'm just appreciative to have the opportunity just to let people know, if even one person just learns now that they can recycle their batteries, it's completely worth it.
That's the answer. It's an education. It's a lifestyle shift. It's a way of thinking that what you do actually does make a difference in the world. And I think about it every time I take my bag full of plastic film out to the recycle box that Ridwell is going to pick up. I think if every household has this much plastic waste and they did it once a week, think about that magnitude of material that we would keep out of landfill, and also keep it out of the recycling facilities, because it causes havoc with all of their machinery. They say those overwrap films really cause issues, and people think, oh, it's plastic, it's recyclable. Well, that's not the case. Or it says biodegradable on it, and that's a whole nother discussion. But I'm excited about this mind shift that I'm seeing in all the people that I interview. Are totally excited about sustainability because well, they're on my show called Sustainable Packaging. But I too talk to dozens of people every day, or interact with them, and they're excited. They want to make a difference. They want to say, hey man, I can do this. I can educate the people around me and say, listen, let's recycle this stuff.
There's, oh my gosh, there's so many wonderful things you just touched on. I think that first and foremost, it is the fact that it's education, right? And accessibility. Yeah. I can't go more to that. I mean, if you go to, either our website or others, like, find just information you can get and that you can hand out. But there's something you mentioned, which was that you can make a difference. And in batteries, I don't think that people truly understand the difference you can make. A great example is, this alkaline and zinc carbon batteries. These are basically the everyday thing you find in your remote control. You're going to find them in your smoke detector, probably, right?
The double A's, the triple A's.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. See, you know batteries. I don't know what you're talking about. You're on it.
I only know double A's and triple A's.
Okay. Well, like, I'll use a good example. My son's like, when he had a swing, right? When he was like an infant, right? Like D batteries, right? Those are all alkaline too. And those, we're able to recycle those batteries, even though they're not technically hazardous waste or material, I should say.
Yeah.
And when you bring those over to a team like us who actually does the processing for those, you've got the process is you've got to collect the batteries first, then they need to be sorted. And I can only speak to our team. I don't want to impose on anyone else's process, but we have an extensive team of battery identification experts that have to categorize at every post-consumer battery basically that comes in, either through a manual or an automated process. And we personally handle tens of millions of pounds of batteries a year, right? And if you think about that, and that's just 8%, right? And we're the largest sorter of post-consumer batteries in North America. And if you just imagine what that could be, if we just increase that just a few percentage points, what impact that can have. But once those are sorted, once we find those like little mines of gold called alkaline and zinc carbon, they go through a process. And this one's a completely mechanical, so there's no water or heat involved. It's room temperature, energy efficient, and it's basically gets through hammer mill and magnetic separation. And there's 3 outputs. It's a paper plastic kind of mix from the labeling and things like that. There's the steel, and there's actually, but basically usually when you feel a battery, it's hard. That's the steel casing, right? That everything's in.
Okay.
And then there's a zinc and manganese concentrate that comes out. And the steel goes on to steel mills, right, to help with whether new buildings or, creation of anything else that needs steel within the market.
Amazing.
But this zinc and manganese, is really interesting because zinc and manganese are in everyday items like your vitamins, right? Like
Right.
you
Yeah.
didn't, I was like, when I learned this, I go, oh, you know what? You're right. I do like to take my vitamin. And for
Yeah.
anyone that's listening, if you didn't take your vitamin today, now is a great time.
Now
And
stop listening and go take your baddies
we'll wait 30
and
seconds.
come back. Yeah.
Just take us with you. I don't know what you're we're
That's right.
portable, right? But it's this idea that when we were looking for applications of the output for these batteries, we found that zinc is a major deficiency in the world, and it can cause many of disease, right? And there's also a deficiency in our soil, a lot in abroad, and still even within the US it's happening. And so we have found that we can actually sell this zinc and manganese concentrate. We give it to a team that creates fertilizer for crops.
Oh, wow.
And then that concentrate goes into the crops like corn and soybeans to help increase the zinc and manganese, right? Really the zinc concentrate that's in there. And then that can improve health overall.
Amazing.
And if you recycle your batteries, you're actually contributing to better health for people when they're eating those fresh fruits and vegetables. And so
Boom. Wow. Hold on a second. Boom. That's the headline right here.
Mhm.
And I mean, how do we, that's it. How do we increase this? How do we go from 8% to 28, like in the next couple of years? I mean, this is crazy. How do we get more people to know about you guys other than this show? What's the secret?
I think that the secret is that we do a lot of outreach. And I think it starts with education in our communities, and it starts with education through our customers. So we run programs through community leadership groups. We work with municipalities to help then send out education within the community for those collections.
Yep.
And we also actually reach out directly to residents, because those that are able to go ahead and recycle directly, right? Whether it's going to be through a program that you have, or if many places aren't as fortunate, right, as you to be able to have that program. And I again, they are amazing programs, but being able to then say, guys, you can do this through all of these different avenues. So we're doing all the outreach we can, right, to say, just either find us online or be able to find something close, right? Because in the end, we work with all of the main environmental service companies, right, to help them. We want to help them help their customers, and so on and so forth. But anywhere from the transportation industry with those huge batteries to those little AA batteries, we take it all, and we even help with those deinstalls, like battery backups. I never
Deinstall. Never heard of that.
I know.
Deinstall.
These are the fun things that you learn now when
you don't call it removal, they call it deinstall, huh?
Deinstall. Yeah. Sorry for that little technical term that got out there.
I love it. Where are you guys located, Danielle?
So we actually have 2 different locations. We've got our main headquarters is in Wixom, Michigan, which is just outside the Detroit area. Yeah. And then we're in Mesa, Arizona, just basically outside Phoenix.
And can people send you batteries anytime?
Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely.
Do you send out like collection vessels to people? So like, could a school sign up to be a battery recycling facility? Or
yeah, what I love is that none of this we didn't really prep at all for this in any way, and you're asking like the best questions that I could ever want to answer. And so yes, they can go to like batterysolutions.com and purchase recycling kits, is what we call them, because it's a service that allows you to what we call commingle, or basically you don't have to be an expert to recycle your batteries. You can just put all of your household batteries right into one unit, because we have a special permit. There is quite a bit of regulation around transporting of batteries based on chemistry type. And so we're one of the very fortunate ones in the US to actually have a special permit that you can go ahead and commingle your lithium and other kind of common household batteries, power tool, packs, all that kind of stuff in one, and mail it back to us. It's prepaid shipping. We recycle everything, even
Awesome.
the units recyclable, right? Because we're focused on sustainability, not just through the chalk, but through that walk. But you mentioned schools, and we launched this year. I wanted to say last year because where my mind is.
This
But
2021 feels like 3 years.
we've actually started doing programs with schools that allow them to do it's basically an hour-long classroom program on battery recycling. And we launched it during Earth Month this year. And we
Awesome.
gave the teachers basically handouts and video access and different activities they can do based on the age ranges of the class, of the grades that we were dealing with. And so if anyone's interested, just go to the batterysolutions.com and just talk about Ask an Expert, and they'll send you to me, or they'll get that request kind of right on out. We also accept community collection. So if someone's local and they want to just drop some things off in a couple
Awesome.
of bags or something, right, bring them to
Yep.
us. We'll recycle the plastic and we'll recycle the batteries.
Well, this is fantastic. I'll definitely ask our executive director for our school if she will let us participate in this program. And she's very forward thinking and very environmentally focused. So I'm excited to present this idea to her. But thank you so much, Danielle. I'll put all the links to your website and everything in the show notes. But one more time, what's the website so people can sign up for these programs?
Sure, it's Battery Solutions.
Easy. Love it. I'd like to thank Landsberg Aurora for sponsoring this program. And if you're listening, please take a minute to review it and share it with your friends so we can spread the word about sustainability. And we just thank you so much. Thank you, Danielle.
Thanks, Cory. Such a pleasure. Thank you so much.